Recording in progress.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session. Our webinar will begin in just a few minutes. While you're waiting, feel free to review our program information at csudh.edu/CEIE/meeting-event-planning. Thank you. We'll be with you momentarily. Good day. My name is Anissa Barton Thompson, and I'm the social media specialist for the College of Extended International Education here at California State University, Dominguez Hills. Welcome, and we're glad to have you join us today. This webinar is being recorded and will be available on our website and social media resources shortly after today's session. Feel free to download the Meeting and Event Planning Certificate Program Information Kit for details about the program and additional resources covered in today's webinar. The address is bit.ly/CSUDH-MEX-InfoKit. We have provided a link in the chat for those who are participating live. It will also be available via a follow-up email to attendees as well as on our website. Now, before we jump in, I'd like to review the Zoom controls. This session is being presented in a webinar format, so you won't need to worry about using your microphone or your camera. However, we do want your participation, so help us address your questions. Use the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen if you're joining us from the Zoom desktop app or the web browser, or in the top right of your screen if you're on a mobile device. Please ask your questions in the Q&A panel as opposed to the chat panel. In that chat panel, we're going to be using that to list helpful resources, provide helpful links, and other kinds of information. And once you click that Q&A button, a dialog box will allow you to type in your question. Our marketing staff members, Stephanie Bukian and Keith Otterberg, and our program coordinator, Elizabeth Legg, are standing by to assist. We'll be answering those questions at the end of the session, although you may find that during the course of the program, some of those questions may be answered. So With that being said, let's take a quick look at our agenda for this certificate program session. And sometimes you'll hear us reference this as MEX, and that's our abbreviation for meeting and event planning. We'll begin by meeting our faculty, who will introduce you to the program via an overview of the benefits, expectations, and course details. Then we'll go over the registration and login information and address your questions in our Q&A session. Our goal today is to give you a 50,000-foot view of more than over 50 hours of instruction in the fine art of event planning. Some of the instructors have joined us today and will introduce themselves and their programs. Clint, take it away.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Clint Upchurch, and I've been involved with the MEX program here at Cal State Dominguez Hills for about 5 years. I've been in the industry about 25 years, doing everything. Started in the industry as a cater waiter, and now planning corporate conferences, multi-day conferences for up to 6,000 people and more. Excited to be with you guys here this morning to talk about what this course offers you guys. Meetings and events in the country, in the world, represents a $280 billion industry. The industry directly employs 1.7 million people, which is more than many domestic industries, including 1.3 million in broadcasting and telecommunications, 1.5 million in truck and rail transportation, and 1.4 million in computer systems, design, and related services. Recent events have rendered big changes, of course, but the industry continues to adapt and is going strong, be it learning and using new virtual platforms or reviewing plans and ever-changing protocols for the return to in-person meetings. Per the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the meeting and convention and event planner profession was projected to grow 8% from 2019 to 2029 nationwide, faster than the average growth rate of all occupations. In California, the picture is even brighter, with an 11% in job growth and more than 2,000 job openings projected per year over the next 10 years. Projected annual job openings refers to the annual average job openings due to growth and net replacement. So there are still favorable job prospects out there, as well as strong job satisfaction scores. People are loving what they do in this industry, and even in the current state. So the strong job openings really helps this profession rank in the top 25 of the best jobs for 2020. 2020 is a kind of tough year for us to have had a best job, but as you'll learn with this course, event planners, we just roll with the changes, adapt, and keep moving forward. So who's good for this course? Who should attend? Whether you're new to meeting and event planning, currently employed as a mid-level administrative assistant or marketing coordinator, or a seasoned pro who wants to sharpen your skills, Cal State Dominguez Hills Meeting and Event Planning Certificate Program offers the opportunity to expand your knowledge within this growing industry. You'll be able to catch up with the latest trends in technology, explore new career opportunities, and expand your abilities as a planner. So our goals are to establish a connection for students within the community. Individuals who attend should include coordinators for meetings, conferences, weddings, fundraisers, sports programs, social functions, or other types of events. Those who are considering making a career change and seeking a comprehensive introduction to the field of meeting and event planning. Employees of the hospitality industry, such as hotel sales and convention service managers who work with meeting and event planners. Those who work in related fields such as entertainment, lighting, audiovisual, sound, and catering, who are looking for additional knowledge to further their skills and enhance their competitive edge. This is also great for those who are already planners, coordinators, and who want to strengthen their skills. Employees working in human resources and or marketing departments with planning responsibilities are also a great candidate for this course. So what are some of the careers in event planning that you can go into? There's meeting planner, event director, meeting coordinator, wedding planner, special event planner, destination management planner, corporate planner, association planner, and an independent meeting planner. So, given the changes in society over the past year, the meeting and planning industry has changed dramatically. The meeting and event planning program at Cal State Dominguez Hills will address the fundamentals and key planning tools in the industry, as well as new practices and considerations related to our current situation. The meeting and event planning certificate program will teach you how to plan, design, and execute a variety of events from weddings and social occasions to sales meetings and other corporate and company events. Students who successfully complete this program are eligible to receive a certificate. So, as far as the schedule goes, the courses are held on Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and you can complete the certificate program in as little as 3 months. The courses are offered twice a year during our fall and spring terms. To view our current course schedule, download the program information kit or check out our website. So the courses are now offered in an online modality using Blackboard and Zoom. So right on your couch in your pajamas. At this time, no on-campus attendance is required. We'll talk about your student access a little bit later in the presentation. Now let's go through the classes and we'll allow each instructor to talk a little bit about their session. And I'll just go ahead and go first with mine because I'm here with you now. So the first course that I'll be talking to you guys about is just an introduction and fundamentals of meeting planning. And this course will provide an overview of the meetings industry and information regarding resources, professional organizations, and career possibilities. Students learn and demonstrate their knowledge of event-related terminology. You'll learn all about meeting room layouts and capacity formulas, safety requirements, legal and financial parameters. This class will provide quick tips for success, identifying goals and objectives, developing timelines and budgets, and establishing meeting design. By the end of this course, the successful student will be able to describe the scope and diversity of event planning as a career, determine goals and objectives of any event, organize the tasks and develop a timeline for the execution of an event, write a request for proposal, also known as an RFP for goods and services, and use the basic formulas for room settings. So the next class that I have the honor to teach you guys about or to talk to you guys about is food and beverage management and room setup. Among a myriad of topics, you'll learn how to successfully work with caterers, hotel banquet departments, and chefs, learn tricks on how to get the best out of the kitchen, and including, but not limited to, pricing, creativity, and attendee engagement. We'll discuss current trends in food and, of course, how we navigate food and beverage during a pandemic. Learn about current in real life protocols, as well as how to integrate food and beverage into virtual hybrid events. And then, of course, everybody has some sort of dietary restriction, and we're becoming more and more aware of them and now need to accommodate for them now more than ever before. From gluten-free to vegetarian and everything in between, we'll do a deep dive into how to deal with today's many dietary needs. And the most important part of this course, we won't just identify the problems, we'll review the solutions and how to make sure every attendee and their specific dietary need is taken care of. Now I would like to pass it off to my colleague, Haley Powers, who couldn't be with us live this morning, but she was kind enough to send this video in that describes her courses. Anissa, roll tape.
Good morning. I'm Haley Powers, Certified Meeting Professional. I'm a graduate of Eastern Michigan University, and I worked 9 years for Hyatt Hotels and 9 years for the Los Angeles Convention and Visitors Bureau. Also included in my work history is some years with Sheraton and Marriott Hotels, as well as a Red Lion National Sales Office. I was executive director for 3 years at the West Hollywood Convention and Visitors Bureau, and I worked for 2 meeting planning companies prior to founding Insightful Meetings in 2002. We're going to talk about a class on site selection and site inspection. Like all of the classes that we have here, we start with a goal and then review our objectives. A goal identifies what you hope to accomplish, and the objectives outline how you will accomplish that. Our goal in this course is to choose the right location and type of venue that can make or break your event. You'll learn what criteria should be used to determine which cities and categories of hotels and venues are best for your event, what resources are available to help you select the location possibilities, and how to write and compare detailed requests for proposals to obtain available dates and rates. The learning objectives that you will accomplish in this class are how to develop an informative and detailed request for proposal, how to define needs versus wants, how to find resources for determining the correct location and facility type using destination management companies and convention and visitors bureaus. We will profile attendees to craft the content to their specific requirements. We will identify pros and cons of each location. We will learn how to measure success of each location for specific needs. We will use group history to your advantage. We will determine the amenities each facility offers and its importance in priority. We will learn how to prioritize the need for ancillary space, including registration offices, speakers' rooms, etc. And we will also read hotel function space capacities. This way we will be able to pick a site with exactly meeting your needs and specifications. And now we're going to look at MEX 903, Negotiation and Contracts. In this class, you will learn what goes into writing a professional level contract that is best for all involved and protects you and your organization. You will learn hotel and venue profit centers, contract verbiage, techniques, skills, and tactics. Contract clauses and liability will be reviewed. We will use samples and role-playing to accomplish this. The learning outcomes and what you will learn time to leave this class is what is a contract and how to ask for one. What should go into a contract? What relationships are important? Contract verbiage, when to apply it and when to omit it. The difference between needs versus wants. What concessions are and balancing the ratio of concessions to the value of your business. The difference between commissionable and net rates. How to read a contract with samples. What are contract ethics? Why convention center and venue contracts vary from hotel contracts. How to negotiate, tactics to use, and how to find a win-win situation. We'll review case studies, reviewing contracts, and what each party is liable for. We will use special updates in force majeure to plan for the unexpected, including a pandemic, and what to do after the contract is signed and how it can be updated. At the end of the class, we'll have evaluations, which will review what you liked and disliked about the class and what we can do to improve it for the next time. And of course, to get your input on the class in general. And now we'll hear from Charmaine Wilkerson on special event management.
Thank you so much, Haley. Hi, everybody. My name is Charmaine Wilkerson, and I'll be teaching the special event management course. And I used to be the event planner at Cal State Dominguez quite a few years back. And at the time, I was responsible for all the major fundraisers on campus. And the Dean of School of Extended Ed approached me one day and said, I've been wanting to start a certificate in meeting and event planning. Can you start it for me? And then I said, well, I don't have a PhD or a master's degree or anything. And she said, no, Extended Ed is completely separate business entity from academic. So I said, sure, I'll start it for you. And that's how this certificate program was born. And I am so proud to see where it's gone today. A lot of our graduates have done fantastic things, and you'll be meeting some of them later on today. So recently, I have been in the technology world as a lead event planner for major corporations such as Hewlett-Packard, HP, and I'm currently with Visa in the Learning and Development Division, and I'm responsible for the experience for the face-to-face training. And of course, recently now I'm doing all of our webinars in-house. Now about the class. My background, both as an independent planner and as an employee, has allowed me to share my lessons learned and my experiences from both perspectives. So the first major event that I produced as an independent planner was the opening of the Reagan Library, which was in Simi Valley. And that was the first time in history where all 5 presidents got together for the first time. And I was the lead planner. It was a 3-day event, 10,000 people, and we managed a budget of about $1 million. Also, I have been working the Oscars and the Emmys, and I do that off and on throughout the last 25 years. Now, I'm a logistics expert, so that's one of the things you're going to take away from my class. And also all the lessons learned and the best practices that I have endured throughout my career. I'm going to share that with you so that you can have a successful event by implementing these logistics. We'll also discuss how the hybrid type of event has come about now due to COVID-19. So for example, most of the hybrid events that are coming now and in the future have morphed in like a TV show format where you have live speakers or performers, then you have a limited live audience, and then you have a strong tech infrastructure for the virtual portion. And the important part is to keep the engagement between the live and also with the virtual portion. So we'll be discussing that in my class. At the end of the class, we'll break up into groups and you're going to design your own event by incorporating the event planning tools that you learned in class. And you're going to share your ideas with the rest of the class. In your group, you also need to discuss what is your wow. And to explain what is your wow, I'll have a guest speaker in my class who is here today. It's my mom, and she founded the company that I worked for called And Here's Lily. We were a premier event management company in LA for many, many years. Excuse me, my mom graduated from Cal Poly Pomona with a degree in hotel and restaurant management. And she was the founder, of course, of And Here's Lily. She's my mentor, my coach, and she's taught me everything I know. And with no further ado, and here's Lily.
Good morning, young people. Everybody's young. I'm so pleased to be here, and I know that I have few minutes. They told me to just tell you what is a wow. A wow is the signature that you put in any function that you do, that they say they recognize who you are and what you do just by doing consistently something that you select to expose in your functions. It doesn't have to be lavish. It can be a simple thing like a folding of a napkin that your clients come and your guests come and it says, oh, here is Lily, look at the napkin. That is a cookie with your initials. That very simple things. If you want to go into more when you have a lavish dinner, then what I do is music. I tell my chefs that I want, for instance, Bake Alaska. The Bake Alaska is that still is going on. Is that dessert who goes with the flame that you flambe. And then that is common. I mean, anybody can have it. But if you do it, and when I used to do it, I put the background music, and I tell my waiters to march at the beating of the music, and they went tan tan ta tan tan ta tan ta tan. This is for big events, tan ta tan, and they says, "Oh, here is Lily. Look, the Bake Alaska and the music." So that was my wow. Your wow can be anything that you do alone and unique. A folding of a napkin or a big serenade.
Okay, and with no further ado, now you know you have your homework to come up with your wow, and I'll see you in class. Okay, Michael, take it away.
Charmaine. My name is Michael Herman. I don't see myself on the screen yet. My name is Michael Herman. I've been doing audio visuals for events since 1997. And prior to that, I worked in theater and television and also taught theater and television. I've been teaching this class for, I'm not actually sure how long, but it's more than 15 years. I've run audiovisual departments in hotels, in the Los Angeles and Orange County areas, such as Los Santa Monica, Four Seasons Newport Beach, Sheraton Universal, Burbank Airport Marriott, the Omni Los Angeles. So why do we have meetings? To communicate. How do we communicate? Audio visuals. Without the AV, nobody can hear your speaker. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at what these gadgets are. We can change the slide now. We're going to look at why you use this one, why don't you use the other one, what is it that I need, what can the audiovisual do for my meeting? Maybe it's your wow. Where do I get this stuff and what do I pay? That pretty much covers it all, and any other questions you might have. So with that, here's Lisa Gardner.
Hi, thank you, Michael, and welcome. So nice to be here. This has been, I think this is my third or second year with Cal State Dominguez, and I love this industry. The event industry has been a part of my life for, I'm going to say decades, but not tell you how many. And I have been a marketing and brand strategist for 2 of those decades. And I have worked with top event professionals that I kind of have learned about or knew about when I was the editor of Special Events magazine before that. And being part of the magazine and then part of marketing, not just the magazine, but its conference, also taught me how to tell stories. And so really that's the whole point of social media today, is how to tell your story online in a way that it's complicated. You know, it's not an easy thing. That's why it is called a strategy. So what we're going to go over in this class are some of those strategies. And I happen to be a big social media nerd. I do love it. So we will go on into all of the platforms that are out there now, even including the very, very new ones. But the larger picture that we're going to go into is how you can communicate and connect online, because we really are telling our stories now online. There's no face-to-face networking, so you have to get that same type of engagement, and you have to be that person, but you have to be it online. So how do we do that? That's what we're going to be talking about. So in addition to a lot of just giving you a lot of information about that, we're going to do 3 different workshops. Some of them are going to be personal things that you do that create your, polish your bio. The very, very important thing is your bio on all of your social media and your websites and your podcasts. And if you don't have those yet, those are things we'll be looking at of what will be the right thing for you. So the other thing we're going to do is a group exercise as well. We're going to do a marketing campaign for a small event that will teach you how to reach out to influencers, teach you how to also promote yourself through the event you are producing in a way that's not, you know, salesy or slimy. And then it's also going to teach you how to reach out to the traditional press, and also to bring in guests that would be important to your clients. And finally, the last discussion, like I kind of talked about, was going to bring in, well, one, how to find your jobs out there with LinkedIn and with different platforms like that, but also to find the platform that's right for you, because there's so many out there right now. So we're going to hone in on that. That will be a big group discussion at the end after you've learned of everything that's out there. Which one is right for you? Where should you put your time and effort so that you'll get the most out of it? So we'll also talk about latest ones like Clubhouse and Spaces. So you will be totally up to date on everything that's happening out there in marketing and brand strategy. So now I'd like to introduce Marla Haar to you.
Thank you, Lisa. Hi, everyone. I'm Marla Haar, and I've been with this program, like Michael, about 15 years or so, which is a great program. I teach the two elective classes. I teach global planning and wedding planning. And I am a graduate of Ohio State University. I'm a certified business etiquette and international protocol consultant. And I teach 2 meeting and event classes at Arizona State University. So I bring, I think it was Lisa that said, a couple decades to the industry. And I love sharing my experiences that I've had. In the classes, we will touch a little bit on COVID-19 and how it's impacting the global planning as well as doing a wedding. So when you start with a global event, it's the same elements you use when you're doing an event here in the United States. It becomes more complex because now you are leaving the United States, you are stepping down in another country that has different customs, a different culture, and different laws. And so it's really important that you understand the dynamics that go into doing an international event. So this class is part lecture and it is part breakout groups. And the first part is the pre-planning process. As you, we have research, your due diligence, budget. Your budget's going to be a little more complex, some items perhaps you've never thought about. And then building relationships. I call it the art of cultural understanding. Again, going back to customs and things that you may not be aware of, and then how to handle yourself and your attendees. So it's sort of like you're not in Kansas anymore. And one of the most important things when you are going offshore is the safety and security of your attendees. And so that's another element that makes it a little more complex. Next, what we do is we review the idiosyncrasies of planning an international event. And again, that goes back to your research. It could be your travel restrictions. We do the site visits, the customs, the trip kits, and on-site logistics. I'm going to give you an example. If you are doing an event in Quebec, Canada, you need to know that all of your signs and all of your printed material must be in French and English. If you don't know that, when you arrive in Quebec, you will be reprinting all of your material. And as you know, that could be time consuming. It could also impact your budget. So you will then be put into groups and you're going to plan an international event. You may go to the Czech Republic, or maybe you'll go to China, maybe Russia. And with that one, you're going to plan a 7-day incentive meeting. You're going to research, and you're going to develop your budget. And you're going to create a detailed timeline for the 4 days of activities. And then your group gets to present your meeting to the class. And this is always the fun part because every group is going to a different country. So we all learn something. The other course that I teach is the wedding planning class. I was a wedding consultant for 7 years. So this class looks at what does it take to be a wedding consultant. You're planning a family event, and a family event is definitely different than a nonprofit or corporate or special event. And excuse me, we used the wedding book that I put together, the 5 easy steps for a successful and fun wedding. Again, this class is part lecture and it's part breakout groups. The first half, we're going to look at what are the skills, qualities, roles, and responsibility of a wedding consultant, understanding family dynamics. This one is probably one of the most challenging parts of planning a wedding, working with all the different family members. Helping you to help your bride and groom manage their budget, and the importance of vendors, because you need a well-rounded list so you have a successful day. And then you will create a wedding day timeline and on-site logistics. When you do the timeline, just to give you an idea of the wedding day, you kind of start like at 7 a.m. when the bride wakes up, and then you plan out all the details that will go on that day. And as you probably have already guessed, there's quite a few. Your discussion group topics, you will learn how to determine your market. Do you start part-time, full-time? Most importantly, what are the legal things that you have to be aware of? And then, of course, financial requirements, especially if you're setting up your own business. How do you set your fees? And then another little group project we have is you will review the 45 item to-do list. So this is a list of all the things that are basic to planning a wedding. And then, of course, every wedding is different. So you will add things or delete things to the to-do list. So depending on your interests or where your career is going at this point, you can take either class or you can take both to complete your certificate program. I look forward to seeing you in class. And now I would like to pass this over to Deshawn.
Good morning. My name is Deshawn Wynn, and I am a certified meeting professional with a subspecialty in healthcare. I have been in the industry for over 20 years, and I started my company 10 years ago. My company is Winning Touch Event Design. Um, my planning strengths are event strategy and content design. I am also currently on the board of directors for the Southern California chapter of Meeting Professionals International, where I serve as the director of strategic sponsorship. I have the pleasure of teaching the financial management for event planning course. It is the most exciting of all the courses. We do math, and I know you guys are excited about that. But although people are really afraid of math, and it's intimidating, knowing your budget and knowing how to operate a budget is one of the most critical things that you can do when planning an event. You need to know what money is coming in and what money is going out. So we do work to take away a little bit of that fear, give you some tools that you can use to in the future so that it'll make it easier on you. We're going to teach you different vocabulary that you need to learn when negotiating contracts. When you're going in to look at your venues, there's very specific language that is used in the industry, and so we'll go over some of that vocabulary. Also, you're going to learn how to calculate the different charges. There's this wonderful little thing called a plus plus, and so you will learn how to factor in the extra charges that go on top of just the normal fee. And you will learn the most common formulas that are used in the industry. We'll give you those formulas, again, taking away a lot of the fear and the unknown, and just making you feel a little bit better about the budgeting process. We will supply you with a budget template. The budget template, it'll help you again. You can put the formulas are already in there. It just helps make this budgeting process a little bit easier. So we will supply you with that, and we'll also do some group projects where we'll give you real world examples of how to of just things that you'll face when planning an event, and you'll be able to use that budget spreadsheet template, and you'll get firsthand, you'll be able use those examples to work through the formulas and work through the language and make you feel a little bit more comfortable. We do try to make this class as fun as possible, so the group projects really help with that. I co-teach this class with Christina LaRubio. She is a corporate planner, so that helps because you We approach budgeting a little bit different as an entrepreneur and as a corporate planner. So you kind of get two different sides of the planning process. That is a great lead in and a segue into the benefits of taking this certificate program is the fact that I met Christina LaRubio when I took this program. Um, uh, 10 years ago, or maybe a little bit longer. Um, so we met in the class, we became great friends. She also became a business partner of mine. So that are some of the benefits of this certificate course. I know one of the questions that was asked was about the CMP. The clock hours that you get in this course, you'll be able to use towards different industry um, uh, uh, designations. So these clock hours are used, you know, for your CMP or your DES. There's a lot of different uh, designations out there, and you can use these hours. That's how I utilized the course to get my CMP. All of the instructors in the certificate have many, many years of experience. They're a wealth of knowledge. They have a great network. So, you know, definitely utilize us to ask questions about career paths and, you know, just the different avenues that you can go in this industry. There's so many different ways that you can have a career in this industry. And I think just the wealth of knowledge from all of the facilitators here will help you with that. So we have talked about all of the courses that are required to get your certificate. There is one other course that is being offered, and I am also teaching that course. It is a new elective. It is not part, you do not have to take it to get the certificate, but we hope that you will still take the class. And that is MEX 995, which is the risk management for meeting and event planning. Um, in the middle of a emergency is the wrong time to try and figure out how to handle the emergency. So during this class, we will talk about the different types of risk that may come with planning an event. We'll identify them. We will use different tools to figure out how to mitigate those risks, how to make the decision of whether or not we should move forward with an event, or whether or not we should cancel the event. We will talk about the communication strategy. So how are you going to let your attendee, in case of an emergency, how are you going to let your attendees know about what is going on? We talk about things such as a social media policy, and if there is a emergency, how are you going to talk to the press? You know, what is going to be your communication plan after an emergency happens? Again, we will supply you with templates and for tools that you can utilize after the course is over in your own work and business. Um, we understand that, yes, we are in the middle of a pandemic, but during this pandemic is not the only time that you're going to need risk management. Risk management is something that you need for every event, no matter how large or how small. So I hope that I will see you in the coming sessions, and I will turn it back over to Anissa.
Thank you so much, Deshawn. And to all of our instructors, I think you guys did an amazing job. Thank you for your participation. Now we're going to get back to all of our MEX instructors momentarily. But first, we want to get ready for a little bit of detail about how to get into the courses in the program. So we'll come back to the Q&A in just a minute, and I'll just gently remind anyone in the attendee panel to use the Q&A button to go ahead and ask your questions. So regarding our registration process, almost all of the CSUDH extended education programs are being offered in an online format, which means that students are assigned online access through our campus's IT services. Each student will need login credentials to access our student portal called My CSUDH. This portal includes Blackboard, which is our learning management system, where our course content is distributed, Toro Mail, which is our Gmail-based student email system, and the Zoom conference tool, of course. These login credentials, which consist of your username, email, account, and password, are issued through our registration office approximately 2 to 3 business days after registration in your first course. Now, enrollment is available from our extended education registration office Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. If you have taken a course at Cal State Dominguez Hills in the past 2 years, you may register online using your MyCSUDH account. We highly recommend that you register early to make sure that there's space in the course and allow enough time for course information and online access information to be created and distributed. Payment is due at the time of registration. You can pay for courses individually or for multiple courses all at once. Now, the federal WIOA, that's Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, provides funding through the California EDD, Employment Development Department, for qualifying students who are currently unemployed or seeking career training. For more information, please email wioa@csudh.edu or visit our program website for more information. And if you need any additional financial assistance, please Google private student loan providers or connect with salliemay.com for student loan details. Again, we recommend that you register at least 1 week before the course begins. And once you've received your login information, you'll be easily accessing the Toro student portal and get access to connect with your class. Please check your emails, both Toro mail and personal emails, frequently for special instructions and campus notifications. You'll also want to be sure to test your account access in Blackboard. Get comfortable with the layout for the class, such as where to find announcements, Zoom meeting schedules, discussions, and the like. Let us know via our academic technology services if you're having any difficulty connecting. Okay. Now we'll get ready for our questions with our instructors. So again, last call. If you have a question, please click on that Q&A button in the bottom of the panel and let us know what questions you have. And at this point, I'm actually going to stop the share and bring our panelists up. So if you can unmute yourselves and we'll get a couple of questions in. So the first question that people really tend to want to know is, how do I get hired in meeting and event planning if I really don't have what I think is a lot of experience? And I'm going to start with Charmaine. If you can give us a little bit of detail about that.
Sure. I usually tell students to get involved in an organization that they have an affinity with, and you can get on the planning committee, and that's how I got some exposure in the skills that I have today. So just join an organization or in the organization that you're already in, and just volunteer to be a planner.
Okay. We have so many different kinds of courses here, but what does participation look like, and what do you expect of the students when they're in the class? I'll ask Michael and Lisa.
I guess I'll take it. Well, Michael's unmuting. Well, it's great when everyone can really, really show up. I mean, I would recommend you take this as being like your time for yourself, because it's about self-improvement, and that is the most important time there really is. And show up for each other by turning on your video and engaging with each other. It's really so simple, and I think you get the most out of it when you do that.
Also, we all have some kind of interactive participation module in our teaching. In my class, you're going to break out into a couple of groups and figure out what the audiovisuals should be for a couple of the events that Haley is going to introduce to you. So we're kind of trying to interact between courses as well.
Excellent, excellent. And I know that a lot of these, they're all independent components, but they all tie into each other. So it is really critical for students to recognize these are one-day courses. And so that participation, if you miss the course, you're missing the course, essentially. So we want to make sure that everybody is aware that participation is a must in order to earn the certificate. A question for anyone that wants to jump in. How many textbooks do I need to buy for this program?
You do not need to buy a textbook. We supply you with everything that you need. The templates and the contracts and things like that is really invaluable information that you will be able to use for many years to come. So we give you the expertise of or the many years of of expertise that we have. We pass that on to you.
And we will also give you links to resources where you can further look up more information, more templates, things like that after class.
Excellent, excellent. This
Online,
is
why buy a book?
right, exactly. This is a question that is pretty prevalent. We're in a professional working environment, and people want to know, what does a certificate do, and how does that compare to certification, and what kinds of certifications are there out in the meeting and event planning industry? Can you tell us a little bit about the certifying organizations and the different kinds of accreditation that you can get?
So, go ahead.
Go for it, Marla.
Okay. Your certifications in the meeting planner part, we call it the CMP. And that's like your first level. Then if you're wanting to go up in management, you get your CMM, and that's on the meeting side. If you're going into hospitality or into travel, they have their own certifications. So you could have several alphabets behind your name if you would like that. For the CMP, you have to take, and most of them, you have to take a test, and you have to be in the business for X amount of years. You have to have done certain things, certain classes, and it's sort of by points. And then you get approved to sit for the exam. And I don't know if it's changed much since I got my CMP, but it was like a 3-hour exam, and I really had to study for it. And a lot of the information comes from, hold on, what's that?
There we go.
The Convention Industry Council Manual. And every one of the certifications will have a manual, and that's how you study. It's
So
well worth
to piggyback on what Marla said, and then you'll find certifications from other organizations like ILEA, which is the International Live Events Association. They have a certification of CSEP. If you work for a destination management companies, there are designations that go along in that field. I have taken the CMP course, but not the test. Do I have any alphabet after my name? No. Have I lost jobs from it, from not having it? No. Would it have helped just, maybe given me that leg up? Had I? Possibly. And how the certification, how the certificate course works into it, it works into my conversation with people, with possible clients. It's nothing that I show, I don't have pictures of it, so people don't really know, but it just makes you more knowledgeable. You're coming across as an expert. In discussing your client's needs and goals and objectives, it definitely could come up in conversation. And so where it isn't as obvious as alphabets behind your name, like Marla said, as an alphabet, it is still something that you can still bring up, will still put you in the expert category because you have studied that, certain subject.
Okay.
And also, I think clock hours. I think that that's probably the largest way that the certificate helps you with the certification, because every certification is going to require clock hours, and you get a good chunk of those through this certificate. I saw that a question came in about who is the certifying body for the CMP. That is the Event Industry Council. It is a international organization that takes the test and then also, or that um, certifies you, and then also you have to renew every 5 years, and they will maintain your certification.
And I believe the portal into that is through our local MPI, Meeting Professionals International of Southern California chapter, MPI SCC. Through that chapter, they have a CMP course that is a study course, and then they will actually administer the test. So you can get the CMP. That's where I studied my CMP, and that's where I've seen everyone getting their CMP through MPI.
And Haley Powers, who is one of our instructors, also teaches the CMP.
And I know that this is a lot of information to take in. When a student is looking for support, how do we address student network interaction? How are they connecting with these different organizations? I know I've joined Clubhouse recently and sat in and listened in to some really intricate and fantastic discussions about working in meeting and event planning. How do we as instructors support our students, and what do we encourage them to do either in class or once they've completed the class? How do we stay connected with them?
You know, I think somebody mentioned it earlier, getting involved, follow your passion, and I think it was Charmaine, and get involved in the organization that is something that's near and dear to your heart, whether it's a charity or a fundraiser. Getting involved in any of these organizations like MPI that we mentioned, they have student rates where it's very affordable to get involved. And then once you get into MPI, you join a committee, and that's where you start networking with other people, and it just snowballs from there. You really can't be passive if you are going to be involved in these organizations. I really, and it's been told to me over the years, the bang for your buck is getting involved in the committee. That's when you really meet more people. Deshawn and I have both been in MPI for a while. She's a current board member. I'm a former board member. That's where you really make those lifelong connections, and those connections that will bring you business and just further your professional life in meeting and event planning.
Excellent,
It's all
excellent.
about who you know.
Right.
And I
And
would add just one more thing is that we make ourselves available after class. This is not just a one-day class, it's a lifetime connection with us. So I think Deshawn could be a testament to that, that students in our classes they interact with each other in class, and then they exchange their contact information and they keep in touch with each other.
So if you need more details about Lily's fanfare and her baked Alaska, she's available to talk to.
well, at this point, you guys have done such a fantastic job. We really appreciate your participation, your sharing of knowledge. This is a wealth of information. And we want to get our students up and running. So I'm going to say goodbye to our faculty if you guys stay online, but I'll bring back up our last little details. So at this point, we want to share a little bit of information about how you can follow up to register. So our registration information is on the screen. You can contact our registration office at 310-243-3741 and just listen in for the music. And when you hear that, click option 1 to get connected right to our registration attendants. If you have specific questions about any other aspects of the program other than registration, please feel free to contact us at learn@csudh.edu or call 310-243-2075, and that's Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. during our regular business hours. And remember, if you've recently been a student at CSUDH, simply log into the My CSUDH portal and register for your courses online. Okay. So we'd love to get your feedback on today's session. Please let us know how we can improve the quality of the information provided by visiting bit.ly/CSUDH-webinar-feedback. And we'd love to hear from you on that. And this concludes our meeting and event planning certificate programs info session. And we want to thank you for joining us today. Again, feel free to connect with us via our website, our social media, on our Facebook page or LinkedIn group. And remember to register early to get your spot in your preferred classes. We'd love to get your feedback. Please, again, let us know in the webinar feedback form how we can improve on the program. We'll stay in the session for a few minutes more to give everyone a moment to jot down last-minute notes, download the information kit from the chat panel, and we just want to remind you, the recording for this session will be online shortly, right after this session, and it's already live on our Facebook page. When you're ready to leave, simply click the red Leave button in the corner of your screen. And once again, thank you for joining us. Stay safe, and we look forward to seeing you in class. Take care, everyone. Okay, room is open.
Yay, that was great, you guys.